as you can see, guys, all that rain yesterday actually ended up turning into some snow. It's actually still snowing now, which I don't know if that's picking up on the camera. The roads are really clear, but there is definitely snow on the ground. I'm back in my car, but I just wanted to show you real quick, guys, what I brought to eat. Of course, I have my fat coffee. I did take my electrolyte tablet this morning. I have 2 hard-boiled eggs, same as every day. And then I made myself 2 of the all-beef Teton sausages. So I'll just eat those like basically like a beef stick. And then I have water and I have my electrolyte drops. So I'm set for the day when I'm ready to break my fast, which isn't quite yet. I usually do that after 12 o'clock. And Mike and I actually ate about a half hour later last night. So if I can push it off and eat at 12:30, then that will still give me like the same fasting time as usual. So that's the plan for today, guys. Happy Friday the 13th, and Mike and I will see you at dinner. You guys know when I'm out working, if I see something that catches my eye, I have to share it with you guys. I am at BJ's, and these keto muffins were on an end cap, so I thought I'd stop and take a look at them real quick. And it says 1 net carb. Oh, great. 1 net carb. Ingredients: erythritol, organic coconut flour, cellulose, short chain fructan fiber, cellulose and psyllium fiber blend, baking powder, xanthan gum, and stevia glycades. A serving is 1 muffin. 1 muffin has 20 grams of total carbs in them. So to me, that's not keto.
So this is what we got from the food truck. It was either barbecue chicken or barbecue pork sandwiches, and they had a choice of 3 sides: baked beans, macaroni and cheese, potato salad. I got the pulled pork with no barbecue sauce. I took double mac and cheese. That would be my favorite normally, but I thought Zach might want to eat it later, so I got something I know he would like, and I stayed keto. It's Friday the 13th, as we mentioned yesterday, and we didn't really have any bad luck or any bad situations happen. Everything's been pretty good considering it was Friday the 13th.
Real quick before we start eating, it's pretty simple. 3 pork chops breaded in pork panko. That's what Mike wanted tonight, so.
That's become a fan favorite in this house because I like shake and bake, and this is better. This is better than shake and bake.
Yeah, so that's what we're having. You guys, before this, have seen the clip of Mike at work today, so you saw that.
Oh, yeah. You know, I don't like to point the finger and pat myself on the back, but
you will.
I'm just going to say that it was very difficult getting in line with all your coworkers, a food truck that had a lot of really delicious food. I mean, it looked amazing. It smelled, the whole place smelled like barbecue pork. And when I got to the window and it was my turn to order, I asked if I could get it without the barbecue sauce.
You mentioned that today was Friday the 13th. So what other day is today?
I have no idea.
I didn't expect you to.
You set me up for this to fail, so I mean, but I don't know.
Today is National Quitters Day.
Says who?
You know how they just have like national days? It's the day of the year that more people quit their resolutions and go back to their old habits. That's why it's Quitters Day. So, you know, are you feeling like you want to quit?
13 days in?
Mm-hmm. That's how long people last on average.
So if we want to buy a gym pass, we should do it tomorrow.
Yeah, because people are done going. My question is, would you quit doing this?
No.
That's
if
what
I was going to quit doing this, I would have ate lunch at work today. Trust me. A free lunch of nothing but carbs, I would have ate it.
Okay, well that brings me to another question. Mike is actually coming up on his 2-year ketoversary in February. Do you think at any point, or do you see any time in the future of you just going back to like eating the way you used to eat?
I mean, I'm not going to answer that because I don't know.
Do you think after everything you know that you could just go back to eating?
I mean, I could.
Carbs at every meal and pasta and bread? And...
I could do it because it would be easy to do. I mean, that's the honest answer. It wouldn't be difficult because it's not like I don't like the way those foods taste. People do a lot of things that they shouldn't do because it's habit forming or it's addictive. I could easily go back to doing that. Now, I would feel bad about it, more bad than I've ever felt, because I do have all this education and understanding, and I know.
Well, and if you started feeling bad.
Well, that's what I'm saying, though. I would feel bad. I would start looking bad again.
Physically, you would start to feel bad?
Yeah. And mentally. I think I would too mentally. Because I would know at that point that I'm doing something to myself that's not healthy.
Yeah.
You know? And so I'm sure I would feel bad both physically and mentally. I didn't go into this, you know, with an end result. I went into this to change the way I eat. And
you mean when you went into this, there was like, no, like, I'm going to do this until this certain date?
No, I never thought that. I just thought I'm going to do this in support of you originally and then see what kind of results I get and see how I feel. And I would be silly to go back. Yeah. I mean, it would be silly at this point. And especially because I'm not strict keto. If I was strict keto, where I was eating like, you know, what we're doing now, it was just beef, butter, bacon, and eggs or something like that, it'd be a lot more difficult. But because I'm not, and because I can, for lack of a better term, I can afford to be keto flexible, which is the reason why I call it that.
Well, as far as weight, you can be, because you're metabolically healthy.
Mm-hmm.
That's why you lose weight faster, and you can eat things that aren't keto and not gain weight. Whereas, like, if I'm not metabolically healthy because I've dieted my whole life, I've screwed up my metabolism, and if I eat something that's off plan, I mean, I feel the effects from it almost immediately,
right.
And it definitely shows on the scale.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas you can have an off plan meal and it doesn't do anything to you.
I mean, it makes me feel, I usually feel
I'm
worse
talking,
at the
I'm
moment.
talking about as far as your weight.
Yeah.
It doesn't affect you like it does me if we do something off plan. I see an immediate jump, and Mike might even still lose weight.
I might still, yeah, and I've done that before.
Yeah,
right.
But he's not dieted his whole life. You never have ever dieted, because he was always healthy and active and never had a weight problem.
No,
so.
I mean, that's, I mean, I'm sure there's some genetics involved there, but I know a lot of people and a lot of my friends now, I mean, granted, we're all in our 50s now, but it's caught up with them. And it was catching up with me, but even to a lesser extent. Think about the people that we know. I've still generally been more active. I've not had the weight gain like most people. Mm-hmm. I mean, I've just been very blessed in that regard. This has just helped me.
A lot of it is just because you haven't dieted your whole life. And all of us doing the things that we were told to do, eating the low fat and all those things, actually screwed up our metabolism doing that. I knew it was Friday the 13th, and I knew it was National Quitters Day. So I was like, oh, wonder if Mike knows that.
I did not.
Also,
see that, but that's never entered my mind. I mean, again,
to quit?
Yeah, because when I think about quitting, I think about you start something and there's an end to it. You decide not to do it anymore, you quit. I don't feel like that's what this is. And maybe that's just because I have a different mentality about it. But a lot of people, I think, you know, because...
Are you talking about keto or are you talking about BBBE?
I'm talking about keto.
Oh, yeah. We don't have a day. Like, we're not like, oh, we're doing this until...
But I'm not thinking about quitting this either, because this is temporary.
Right.
I mean, BBBE is temporary.
That was mostly like what I wanted to ask you about, like, hey, are you thinking about quitting BBBE?
Oh, see, well, I mean, in that regard, no. But again, you know, you asked me to do this with you, which I wanted to do anyway, but it's a challenge, and it's not a challenge that I cannot handle. So I feel like for me, halfway through, I mean, we're almost halfway through, a couple more days and we'll be halfway through. I feel like that would be a really stupid thing for me to do, is to just give up on it now.
I was talking to a subscriber about, you know, just Mike and I in general, and how at some point maybe we would do a video about us. I know I did an introduction video, and Mike kind of introduced himself later after my channel had started.
When my character got written into the script, I had to introduce myself.
Just maybe talking a little bit more about us, maybe telling the story of like how we met, and, you know, we've been...
Oh, you see that?
What?
You just mentioned telling our story of how we met, and your subscriber number just plummeted.
Oh, hush. So our question is to you guys, if we did a video like that, we would like to answer questions. So what we would like you guys to do, if you want, is to drop a comment down below and just ask a question. It can be for Mike, it can be for me, it can be for both of us. And when we do that video and talk about our story a little bit, we can answer any questions that you guys might have. So
can I chime in here for a minute?
Yeah.
So questions. I would just like to say this. As far as I'm concerned, nothing's off the table. You got a question you want to ask? I mean, if it's even a little personal, long as it's not ridiculous, but I'm open to that because we have nothing to hide. We have a great story, I think. I mean, without our story, this wonderful couple right here wouldn't be here. But in all seriousness, I mean, yeah, I think that would be a great idea. I love that idea. I think it just draws a community together, getting to know people.
Just so you guys can get to know us on a more personal level.
But yeah, ask away. And if you got a couple, throw them down. I mean,
yeah,
that'd be great. I think what you're suggesting then is kind of like, it's almost like a live, but it's not a live, obviously.
Right.
So we'll do it that way. And someday maybe we'll do a live, who knows? But at this point, just a video with questions. I mean, I think that would be really cool.
So we're going to go ahead and wrap up this portion of the video here, and we'll be back with you guys in a little bit. I haven't read my chapter in Dr. Berry's book, so...
I read it. And fellas, guys, if you're watching, stay tuned because this is our chapter.
We'll get back with you guys and wrap up the video for the night and talk about Dr. Berry's chapter here shortly.
My beard. Look how gray I'm getting. My gosh. Everybody's going to think I'm old.
Are old.
Why are you laughing?
Because we're both just like sitting there staring at the camera.
I mean, I could close my eyes.
I think I'm getting slap happy. We're back.
Yes, we are.
Dinner's over. We just sat down on the couch.
Well, we sat down on the couch to do this last segment, but
right.
I'll be getting up again so that you can have your spot.
Yeah, I sit on this end of the couch to edit because the outlets are close for the laptop to be plugged in and everything. The
lights and everything. It's just a convenient spot. Just so happens to be my spot on the couch.
I actually have another spot on the couch, and I specifically
way over there.
Yeah, and I specifically got this set up because I wanted the cuddle chair that like went on the end of the sectional, but in theory it's not practical because it's so much further away from the outlets and plugs, so I can't like use them if I'm sitting there.
So she kicked me out, and now I'm over there on that side, and I don't like it because it's too far away. I feel like I'm in a whole nother room.
Yeah, it is big. We got this so that my kids and their spouses could all sit on the couch. So anyway, side note.
That was just a little preview of getting to know us better.
Yeah, we're in our book, Dr. Berry's book. We are on chapter 10 today. And the lie in today's book is giving testosterone to men causes prostate cancer. So
you see, guys, I told you earlier, this is our chapter, and, you know, we'll talk about it a little bit. It's not a long chapter. Most of these aren't. What I found interesting about this chapter, more than just the information itself, is that my wife was clueless. She'd never even understood that. She didn't know it existed.
I've never heard that before. And I, you know, probably because I'm a woman, it doesn't really apply to me. But I had never heard that that was even a thing. Yeah. Basically, it came about because of one man's opinion. He did a study.
If you want to call it a study, it was like a...
There were 3 men in it. That's it. 3 men. And then in the study, he actually only addressed and talked about 2 of them. And one of them had been castrated. So that
part of it, now this was back in the 40s, I believe.
Yeah, this was in the 40s.
But still, are you kidding me? He was castrated?
Yeah.
What in the world? Why? I mean, unless it was a health issue.
That's where this whole misnomer started. And it's crazy that those are the details of it.
Not only that, but I mean, I find it hard to believe, and I'm not saying that Dr. Berry is not telling the truth here, but I find it very difficult to believe that there has not been any other credible studies to at least...
Oh, he says that there are more studies, but the studies now are disproving this.
Right, I know that, but I'm saying that there weren't more studies back then
at the time
to even try and support his so-called theory.
Yeah, they just took it as, oh, this makes sense. And the next thing you know, people are repeating it and repeating it and repeating it, and it just becomes fact.
And so the premise here is that obviously as you get older, men, their testosterone levels drop. What I found interesting, and I had heard this before but never really thought much about it, but our testosterone levels peak when we're teenagers.
Well, between 17 and 21.
Well, right, but that's 17, 18, 19. That's 3 out of 5 years. You're a teenager. And once you hit 21, it starts its slow, steady decline.
It's the highest it will ever be.
Right.
Because then, yeah,
I mean, mean, I'm sure there's those few cases, but for the most part, it starts to go down. So if you think about that, when you're in your 30s, I mean, you're already on a significant decline of testosterone levels. And I find that mind-boggling.
And he talks about things that can help your testosterone, which is like, you know, a good diet, exercise, you know, those things can help your testosterone. He also pointed out a fact, speaking of the teenagers, that if high testosterone was in fact linked to prostate cancer, we would see more prostate cancer in teenagers because that's when your testosterone is the highest.
Yeah, interesting, because, you know, we've talked about this in different varieties so far through the book about if you just think about the comment, the basic premise of the lie, it makes total sense. How did we not notice this before? If our testosterone levels for men are at the highest in our late teens and it's linked to prostate cancer, then why do we not have an epidemic of prostate cancer in teenagers?
Right.
And we don't.
Right.
Nobody. I mean, I'm sure it's not zero, but it's got to be awful close. So to think that by increasing your testosterone or, you know, aiding it or doing treatments would make your prognosis for prostate cancer would go up doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
That was very interesting when I read that. That was one of the first things he said right out of the gate. You got a lot of highlights going on here. Is that because a lot of cool things, or you just were like shocked?
No, I just didn't know any of this. I've never looked into testosterone at all. But he also says that a man feels his best when his testosterone levels are in the upper limit of normal. So, and when they're low, you're going to have reduced bone mass, anemia, insomnia, reduced muscle mass, and severe fatigue. I just think it's important, you know, reading this, that obviously you keep those testosterone levels higher. And if you can't, he's basically saying, you know, try to do it with diet, you know, what you're eating and exercise. Right. But if you can't, don't be fearful of
going to the doctor and having treatments.
Having, testosterone treatments because you have heard or been told that they're linked to prostate cancer. Well,
and your doctor may even say the same thing. He might even reverberate that to you and say, hey, I don't recommend doing this because it's linked to, you know, prostate cancer, and yet there's really no proof of it.
Right. And just one more thing that jumped out at me before we wrap up this chapter. He says, many years ago, the average older man's testosterone level was substantially higher than the average older man's level is today. As of now, we're not sure if this was because men previously had better diets, they were more active, or they were exposed to fewer toxic chemicals.
If I had to take a guess, I would say all the above.
Right.
I mean, honestly, because our diets are not as good. That's been documented already. And we're exposed to all kinds of garbage. And, you know, along with that, and I don't have numbers to back it up, but I have read this before too, but also men's overall sperm count is lower today than it was when back in those days for basically the same reasons.
Diet,
it's all health related.
Yeah, that was the chapter today, and that's all.
That was interesting. So guys, obviously, you know, it affects us, but I don't know if anybody out there watching has had, any of you guys out there, if you've had any kind of testosterone treatments or anything. I have not.
If it's something that you've worried about,
we've not talked about it. Yeah, I mean, I had my levels checked. I mean, I'm 52. I've had my levels checked to see, you know, where I'm at. They're in what they say is the normal range. Now,
for your age,
what does that mean? I don't know, because I don't know what the ranges are, but I'm still fairly active. I mean, I could be more active. I got a lot more to do now with, you know, taking care of this channel and making it hum.
Oh my gosh. All right, guys, that is a wrap for day 13. Yes. And we will see you guys tomorrow. It's Saturday, so I'm not exactly sure how tomorrow will play out. It'll probably actually be a little bit different than our normal Monday through Friday, because it's basically the same routine every single day. So maybe it'll be a little bit different. I do plan on trying to make those butter bites tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
That's on my agenda. So.
And I probably won't be here in the morning just like normal, because I got things to do in the morning, and I'm a morning person, whereas Dawn is not. So.
Well, I have a nail appointment in the morning, and he is going to go take care of his, I gotta be purdy.
Right.
And he's gonna go take care of his dad in the morning, so it'll be a little bit different, but we will definitely be touching base, and you guys will see what we're eating tomorrow. Have a great night.
Good night.